Hello, my friends. I am back with another monthly recap, and this time we are going through October's reads. Grab a cup of tea, grab a blanket, grab a snuggle buddy, and settle in because we've got 8 books to run through this month. As per usual, we're going to keep the format the same. I'll give you the title and the author, along with a quick synopsis, spoiler free, of course. Then I'll give you my rating, and I'll share who I think this book is good for. Let's hop into it. First up, we have On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. This book was a book club pick, and I was so thrilled that we got to do a vampire read for October. The story opens with our FMC Medra dropping into this brand new world full of vampires. She's a half-fae female who thinks she died saving her realm, only to find that she ended up stark naked in a completely different reality where vampires have all of the power and she has none of hers. The first group that she encounters is comprised of a few males, one of them being her future betrothed, Blake, a vampire prince. He takes her back to his kingdom and presents her to his uncle, who's currently the ruler. From there, Blake's uncle decides that Medra is going to be Blake's second consort. Not only that, but she's also going to attend school with him at Bloodwing Academy as a first year. The reason she seems so important to the vampires is because of her appearance. In the vampire world, nobody has red hair like Medra, and the only beings that did were dragon riders. Now, dragons are currently extinct, but dragon riders were among the most powerful beings in the realm, so it would be very important to have one on your side if there were a war to break out. So Medra heads to school. She starts her first year at Bloodwing Academy. She makes a few friends along the way, attends her classes, builds up her strength, and learns how to fight against the vampires. While she's attending school, she tries to find her way home, tries to help her mother, who's trapped in this realm in some sort of limbo, and she starts to uncover some of the secrets of the politics in this vampire-run realm. Because On Wings of Blood is the first in a series, it definitely has a lot of buildup, but I'm very excited to see where it goes. I really enjoyed On Wings of Blood, so it gets a 4 out of 5 for me. Now, you should read On Wings of Blood if you're into trials, dark academia, vampires, possessive MMCs, and if you like your men just a little bit toxic. Next up is an arc that I was so excited to get. I literally could not believe that I was granted the ability to read this early. This next one is I, Medusa by Ayana Gray. This book really should come with a big trigger warning up top for SA. Sharing that as a disclaimer now so that way you can skip ahead to the next book if you don't want to hear anything about that. I will leave a timestamp in the corner so that way you can skip ahead if you'd like to. So I, Medusa follows the Greek myth of Medusa and the Gorgons, but this story sheds a little bit more light on how Medusa came to be who she is and why she did the things that she did. We start off seeing Medusa as a young woman who's trying to save her sister from a potentially abusive marriage. She unintentionally catches the eye of some of the Greek gods and goddesses and ends up becoming an acolyte for Athena in Athens. She goes through all of her trials as an acolyte to hopefully become a priestess at Athena's temple. And while she's in Athens, Poseidon attempts to protect and woo her. In order to not spoil too much of the story, just in case you haven't heard Medusa's myth before, all I'll say is that the rest of the story focuses on Medusa's fall from grace, how she became a Gorgon, and how she spends the rest of her life. Fair warning, it did make me cry more than once. So if you're a woman's woman, just be prepared to have your heart stomped on. Just a little bit. Because of the way that I, Medusa moved me, this gets an easy 5 out of 5 for me. You'll love this if you like Greek mythology, if you are or ever have been considered the good girl who does what she's supposed to do, if you love female empowerment and you have a little bit of feminine rage in your heart. Hard pivot to a different arc called Blackthorn. This one's by J.T. Geisinger. I genuinely can't say too much about this book because it was absolutely unhinged and it was a little bit of a fever dream. I will say that it held my attention the entire time, and I loved the MMC, and I was really upset for a good chunk of the book. I do caution you, when you read the trigger warnings, read them and take them into account. Mild spoiler, the biggest trigger warning that I had a problem with didn't end up being a huge deal in the end, but for a good portion of the book, I was just praying that it wasn't true. With that disclaimer in front of you, we can head into the synopsis. Our FMC Maven returns back home to her small town with her daughter for her grandmother's funeral. Maven's home kind of reminds me of Sabrina the Teenage Witch mixed with the Addams Family, but it's very spooky, eerie, and kind of psychologically unhinged. Because she's back at home in her small town, she reunites with her first love, who also happens to be the son of the rival family in town. Absolute chaos ensues. Her grandmother's body goes missing. Maven seems like she's losing her mind and her grip on reality. She starts to uncover more about her mother and how she mysteriously died. And there are some supernatural creatures in the area. This story made me question my sanity more than once, and it kept me entertained the entire time. I don't know how we got here, but this one gets a 4 for me. Don't at me. Blackthorn will be for you if you love absolutely unhinged spice, if you like witchy, demonic vibes, if you like paranormal romance, and you'll absolutely love it if you love psychological thrillers. I definitely felt insane for half this book. Next up, I did my reread of Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I'm not giving you a synopsis because I'm doing a whole recap video, so stay tuned. But it's an easy 5 out of 5 for me, and everybody and their mother should read it. Next up is a book I'm ashamed that took me as long as it did to pick up. It's The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I mean, she literally has the same name as me. That's criminal. I can't give too much detail on the synopsis here because it has so many twists and turns, but what I can tell you is that this story centers around a rich family who owns a summer camp as well as additional property in the Adirondacks. The rebellious teenage daughter of the camp's owners go missing, and this is especially alarming because her older brother, that she never got to meet, went missing many years earlier and was never found. We follow several different points of view, including the family who lost their child, other campers, a camp counselor, and even some of the police who are leading the search for the missing girl. We get to explore the beauty of nature and being self-sufficient. We get to experience some generational trauma and secrets being unearthed. We get to answer the question about what happens when you let the truth eat you alive. I had such a good time with The God of the Woods. This one gets another easy 5 out of 5 for me. You'll love this if you have an appreciation for nature. Also, if you hate the uber rich. If you're feeling nostalgic for simpler times, especially without technology. And if you like a bit of mystery mixed in with female oppression turning into female empowerment. Next up on our list, we have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I was lucky enough to get this on Libby just before a 5-hour flight, and ooh, baby. I am so thankful. I read this while flying almost all the way across the country, and it did not disappoint. The story centers around Misery, a female vampire who feels like she's never fit in anywhere. She's forced to marry an alpha wolf named Lo. Now there's a ton of political tension stemming from issues between werewolves, vampires, and humans. What causes the most tension for Misery is the fact that her sister slash best friend, Serena, is missing. Amid being thrown into werewolf territory and a marriage that she never expected she'd be in, she hunts for her missing sister. Misery tries to navigate werewolf culture and customs, tries to settle into her new life and her new normal, and she has to figure out a way to do this while not getting attached to the people around her. Misery ends up needing to make some pretty big decisions, but the biggest one is what's more important, her species or her heart. Bride gets the easiest 5 out of 5 from me. I loved Bride so much that I ordered it before my Libby hold was up, and it got home before I did. Now everybody should read Bride, but you'll especially like it if you love protective MMCs, werewolves, forced proximity, paranormal romance, and if you've ever questioned where exactly it is that you fit in. Second to last is A Bloodveiled Descent by Haley M. Opet. This was another arc that I received through the Nerd Fam, so thank you, Nerd Fam. This story centers around Evelyn, our FMC who's re-entering the marriage market after taking some time away to care for her sick brother. Her brother has this mysterious illness that nobody knows how to cure, but thankfully he's been in remission for a little bit. As she heads back out into society, Evelyn struggles with how she fits in and how she's going to make a marriage work. When her brother disappears, Evelyn and her best friend slash betrothed, Alaric, end up going on a search for him. They encounter a werewolf shifter pack and end up getting a little bit more friendly than anticipated. They end up traveling together to try and find her brother and to get rid of the blight on the land. Training scenes, werewolf shifting, and a little bit of romance ensues. While A Bloodveiled Descent was a good time, it wasn't 100% my favorite, so this one gets a 3 out of 5 for me. You'll like this if you like werewolves but didn't want the you-know-what from Bride, if you like Bridgerton vibes mixed with a little bit of paranormal, and you love mystery and plot twists. Last up might be my favorite contemporary romance of the year. It's First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. Again, I am ashamed about how long I let this sit on my TBR because oh my god, was it good. First Time Caller is a Sleepless in Seattle retelling with a really cool modern update. We center around two characters, Lucy and Aiden. Lucy is a single mom who gave up dating because the magic just wasn't there anymore. Aiden is a jaded, moody, broody radio host who happens to host a late night romance hotline. One night, Lucy's daughter Maya calls into the radio station and Aiden answers. When their short conversation goes viral, the radio station picks up Lucy and decides to help her find love. Lucy starts putting herself out there and decides that it's time to go after exactly what she wants. Aiden, who's built up walls of stone, needs to decide whether or not it's time to tear those walls down. Is Lucy going to be brave? Is Aiden going to let her in? I laughed, I cried, I giggled, I rolled my eyes. This book had me feeling all the feels. This was a good month. We have another 5 out of 5. And you'll love it too if you love Sleepless in Seattle, single mom romances, Grumpy and Sunshine, some unique gender roles, and if you just love love. October was such a good month. Let's see if we can keep it going in November.